Welcome back to the Ask Pre-Built series, the series where you ask me questions and I answer them. If you would like a question answered in the future anywhere on my channel, please leave the word AskP in your comment and I will be able to search for it for the next week's video. This first question asks, is there something that the Fun Pimps could do that would make you just flat out give up on the game? Here's the thing about that. Yes and no. First of all, if the Fun Pimps were to exercise their executive power and copyright strike every video I've ever made on 7 Days to Die, which they are technically within their right to do, I would have no reason to continue doing 7 Days to Die content. Then I'm just gonna have to cut it off, throw it away and do something else. So that's an obvious thing that the Fun Pimps could do to me that would make me give up. But that's not really doing something to 7 Days to Die, is it? But honestly, things they could do to 7 Days to Die that would make me just give up on the game, I think we're past that. In terms of my hopes for the future of the game, they're in the floor. Like, I have given up on the game. I don't think it's going to be a good end product in the end. I would love to be proven wrong, of course. Ultimately, I cover it because it's part of my channel. I've built a community around it, and I'm quite interested in seeing the future of 7 Days to Die. Whether it's a story of redemption or a car crash, I want to cover it, I want to see it. I think we've already reached the they've done too much stage. We're 13 years into development, we don't have key features, they've released, quote unquote, released the game unfinished. They made 1.0 and it didn't have bandits and story. Those were two promised features from the very beginning. Those aren't in the game, so they lied about what they were going to have for the release goals. That's a pretty big red flag. Then they started working on their sequel game, not Blood Moons, but the other game they're working on that's going to be in Unreal Engine 5 last time they spoke about it. They started working on that before finishing 7 Days to Die, and then, as if it wasn't insulting enough, they started doing 7 Days Blood Moons, which of course, as everybody keeps saying, is made by a different studio. And I keep saying that doesn't matter, it's still resources that the Fun Pimps funnel into that game. They are paying for it to be made. There are employees at the Fun Pimps who are responsible for taking things from their game and handing it over to Illogica. It's a drain on resources. Not a significant drain on resources, I would imagine, but when you're 13 years into an unfinished game, I think it's just a spit in the mouth to then start diverting money and resources not only to a spin-off game, but to a sequel as well when you're not even finished the first one. So there's another seal opened, if you like. Then we have the learn by reading changes. I assume most people watching this video know what I'm talking about. But basically, you read books, that's how you learn how to craft things. It's one of the most unrewarding progression systems I've ever had in a video game. It's heavily RNG based and it really just funnels you into doing the same 2 or 3 POIs over and over again so you can get the books you want fastest. And they've made the rest of the game so RNG based that you really don't have a choice but to go for the learn by reading route if you want to do things decently quickly at all. And then another big problem I have with the game is obviously the do collector change. It doesn't really ruin the gameplay that much. Not like learn by reading, but it is just like, why did you remove the ability to fill containers with water and boil it? That was in the game for years, and you decided, no, this is what's wrong with our game, we can boil water. That's like going back to the very basics of the game before you're finished 10 years in, rather than getting that shit done rapidly at the beginning of your game. And they would have had a lot of feedback on the core systems of the game, and they have spent the last 10 years just redoing them. So no, there isn't something that would make me give up on the game, in the sense that I would stop doing content on it, but I have given up on the game in terms of any expectations of anything good. Also, do you have a favourite Pokemon? I could name one Pokemon if you put a gun to my head, obviously Pikachu. If you asked me to name 10, I would probably be dead. I don't know anything about Pokemon. Next question is about the Escape from Tarkov overhaul. Do you have an incredible memory for the guns in the game, or what knowledge do you bring from the real world which allows you to make sense of all the guns and ammo and mods in EFT? Just wow, thanks for playing and posting. You're welcome. I think it's important to not understate the benefit of doing things as your job for making you remember stuff. I'm in the best position for remembering facts about 7 Days to Die and its mods because not only do I experience it in quite a pressured environment while I'm trying to make content, so that helps things go in the brain, but also I'm usually saying these things aloud, and if you're trying to remember things in real life, big thing you can do is say them aloud. I'm also often hearing those things multiple times as I edit, which is another good way to remember things, is repetition, and that really does force me to remember some things. I still can't find a splint in my inventory to save my life though, but that's a visual problem. I need glasses. Second half of this comment is an AskP question. I can't play 7 days without mods, but I've never loved the mod managers. How do you organize, implement mods, especially when switching back and forth from full conversion? You're not gonna like this. I go to my mods folder in Steam Apps Common 7 Days to Die mods, and I select all of the mods that I want to not be enabled, press cut, which is Control X, and I put them in a new folder. I call it like farts, and then I paste them into that. And what happens is when you run your game, 7 Days to Die will open your mods folder and it'll look for your fart folder or whatever you want to call it, and it'll just see that folder doesn't have a mods.xml and therefore it'll ignore it. And then when I want to put the mods back on, I just cut them, put them back in the main mods folder. Simple as that. If I was switching between multiple different conversions, say Darkness Falls, Tarkov, and Afterlife at the same time, I would just make copies of the entire 7 Days to Die folder and have those mods in each of the 7 Days to Die mods folders and run those from distinct shortcuts. I don't use mod managers for games unless I'm playing a game like Skyrim where you might have hundreds upon hundreds of mods at the same time. Do you think we'll get bandits before GTA 6? Let's work this out in our heads. GTA 6 has been delayed to next year. If we assume that's the final delay, which is a bold assumption, but let's assume it is the last delay, 2.0 of 7 Days to Die comes out June this year. We can be fairly certain that there will not be another 7 Days to Die update until June next year again, because they have not done an update in less than a year in a while. I think the last two have been 1 year, and before that it was a year and a half. They've been doing pretty reliably an update a year, except for that one time. And that next update is supposed to have bandits, a UI overhaul, and a new quest type. However, every single update in this game for the past 5, maybe even longer years has said bandits are going to be in the next update or the update after the next update. And here we are, 2025, and they're still not in the game. So if we're going off of what they're saying, we will have bandits next year. And if GTA 6 doesn't get delayed again, it will then come down to the question of when does GTA 6 release next year? The latest news says May 2026. And if we assume one entire year until the next update, 7 Days to Die 2.0 comes out in June, because it is not coming out in May, then we should see GTA 6 come out in May 2026, and then Bandits in June 2026. So yes, we should have GTA 6 before Bandits, and that's assuming the Fun Pimps actually do decide to put Bandits in the game in the next update, which they've been saying they're going to do for a while and just haven't. But these are two things that are basically just prophecy at this point. It's made up. 7 Days to Die might never get Bandits and GTA 6 might never come out, but my money is on Bandits being after GTA 6, but just barely. Triple question, try to keep it short as possible. It's been a while since 1.0 dropped, and with the Storms Brewing update on the metaphorical horizons, would you be willing to go over zombie AI again at some point for newer players? Let's answer these as we go. So I'm not an expert in zombie AI at all. I don't use horde bases much. I am not the best person to ask, and I could research it, but I worry that they are currently reworking the zombie AI according to a post I saw on the forums, or maybe it came to me in a dream. It's a haze sometimes. But if that is true, then there's no point learning AI now, and there's no point making a video on the AI now for it to be changed within a month. However, if they do change it, next update would be a perfect time for me to really try and commit the AI mechanics to my memory and make a video on it, which I can use in future for when I inevitably forget the zombie mechanics, because believe it or not, the vast majority of tutorials and informational videos I've ever made on my channel, I do not know the information in them anymore. They are in the past. I have not used the information, therefore it is gone. So I can watch my own tips videos for a refresher, and it's actually pretty useful. Who would you ever consider challenge runs? Examples of this are GNS's Borderline or Block 9's Ramblin' Man. I don't know what Ramblin' Man is, but Borderline I do know. I don't even know if that's a challenge run, honestly. That just sounds fun. But yes, I've done kind of challenge runs. The problem with challenge runs is you probably just want to make them into one video, because if I do, can I beat 7 Days to Die without using a gun? That's not going to be a good series. That's going to be really boring. But one video where I have 2 hours to show an entire playthrough, That would be a pretty good video, but the problem is you're doing like 40 hours of gameplay for 2 hours of footage, and it's just, that's a lot of work for one video that might do like twice as good as a normal one. But for more simple challenges, I think I'm already there. Insane Nightmare and stuff like that, that is a challenge run. But yes, challenge runs are pretty likely in some capacity. See, are there any content creators that you would like to do content with in the future? Of course, there's the usuals, Laney, Guns, Nerds, and Steel, Wayward Echo, Spange. Other than that, I don't have anybody I'm particularly looking to work with. I'm open to invitations if they appear, but I'm not really going to be approaching anybody new to make content with because it's a massive pain in the ass. Have you checked out The Long Dark and would you consider playing it for the channel? It's a game I often find myself returning to in the winter and could be a fitting game to play during those winter months. The developers are claiming to have the story mode of the game completed by December as well, so it could be a good time to play it when there will be more attention around the game. Yeah, I've been wanting to play Long Dark on the channel for a while. I've never played it before, but I do want to. I didn't know the story wasn't done, so now I am just gonna wait until the story's done, because I don't want a half-finished game again. So the answer is yes, but I don't know when that story is gonna be done, and therefore when I want to play it. Between Fallout 3, Fallout New Vegas, and Fallout 4, which is your favorite and why? Big surprise, it's Fallout New Vegas. And it's just because I like the atmosphere and the tone of it the most. Also, the RPG-ness of it just feels better. The dialogue is more well written. Choices feel more meaningful than in both of those games. There's a lot more opportunities to do things in interesting ways thanks to the perks that you take. New Vegas is the best out of the three for that kind of thing. It looks like hot ass and the gunplay is ass. And it's actually got some of the least replay value out of those three games, I think. Just because the way the map is laid out, if you were to play that sort of in a roleplay way, you would almost always end up going the same way every time doing the same stuff. Unless you want to go left towards New Vegas at the start, which is a fun thing, but then you've got two different ways to play it and it's not that significant. And I think Fallout New Vegas suffers from not having Bethesda doing the level design. Lots of the caves and interiors in that game are really boring compared to Fallout 3 and especially Fallout 4, but in terms of the more classical RPG things like the story and the character building, that's much better in Fallout New Vegas, and that's the thing I care more about in my Fallout games, and indeed the tone feels better. It was a game you absolutely despised despite other people swearing by it. I think, is the answer not 7 Days to Die? I think that counts. But really, I'm going to answer the one that you are planting in my comment section, because I know you know the answer, and I've probably answered it on the series before, but it was Terraria. I just don't like it. Haven't played much of it. I played it for a bit. It just didn't mix with my brain. Maybe it's because it's 2D, and I'm not a big 2D games person, but it just never really clicked. And lots of people love Terraria, so I'm sure that's sacrilege. It's fine, I gained my gamer points back by being nice to Fallout New Vegas, so all is right with the world. What do you think about Diablo games? Do you ever consider playing any? I played, what to say, Diablo 3 when I was a little child, a little tiny child. When did Diablo 3 come out? Came out in 2012? Yeah, I probably played that when I was a child, because I would have been 11 when that came out. It never really scratched my brain either, and now we know that Diablo is made by Blizzard, and I'm not completely immune to the Activision Blizzard games, but I do try to avoid getting into new ones. I occasionally play a Call of Duty game, and that's about as close as I come to Activision Blizzard these days. Are there any YouTubers you watch for fun? Yes, but the last time I mentioned the fucking YouTubers I watch for fun, they were cancelled like a week later, so I'm not telling you anymore. I'm not telling people who I like, because they get cancelled immediately. And this isn't me being upset about them being cancelled, by the way. They were rightfully cancelled. They're a fucker. However, just seems unwise. Why make things age poorly like that? Do you like Minecraft vanilla or modded or heavily modded? I play Minecraft vanilla occasionally with data packs. I don't like to mod most games unless I have truly ground all the fun out of them, and the only games I've really done that with are the Fallout games and the Elder Scrolls games, and of course 7 Days to Die, but even then, I would probably just play 7 Days to Die vanilla if it wasn't for the fact that people would get really bored of watching me do it. I started watching you through tutorials, and now I'm enjoying your content. Keep up the work and keep going. Thank you. What are your thoughts on video games raising their prices to match GTA? First, I don't know if they're doing it to match GTA. I'm not that clued in on the video games economic side of things. Could be any number of factors, but my thoughts on raising the prices? I don't care. First of all, from a purely me perspective, just to start off, video game prices will never affect me as long as I play the video game on my channel, because taxes. So it can cost $100. It doesn't matter, I'll get it back at the end of the year. But for everybody else, it's obviously an issue. my answer to that is just don't buy it at $70. Vote with your wallet. It'll go on sale on Steam if nobody's buying it at $70. And if people are buying it at $70, they're buying it for the privilege of playing it when it comes out. Now, I disagree with the idea that playing a game the first day it fucking comes out in 2025 is a privilege. Actually, it's a steaming pile of dog shit and you paid twice as much as you had to because it doesn't work and it's unfinished. It'll be much, much better after 3 years of updates and you pay $7 for it. It's just true. But I understand that sometimes we get hyped for games and we need them the day they come out. My advice to people on that would be just really pick and choose which ones of those you're going to spend $70 on. Because I have bought 2 games at full price this year, both of which are tax deductible, both of which were $60. One was Oblivion Remastered and one is a pre-order for Dune Awakening so I can get early access. And in my unique circumstances, it is beneficial for me to get things earlier, even when it is objectively when the game is going to be at its worst. I can start making content on it, can make a return on the investment of buying the video game, and I can get channel growth from it. So I have a very unique perspective on the pricing of games and stuff. Ultimately, there is not a single game in existence I couldn't make my money back on if I really wanted to, so it's never really much of a loss for me. I really do question if it matters that there's a $10 increase on a video game. $60 was already stupidly priced. What's $70 really? It's $10 more. Unless you're buying literally one of these every couple of weeks, it's not going to have a huge impact on you. $10 extra here or there. The real decision would be just buy less games if it's that much of a financial burden on you. If you're buying one game every month, all the games go up by $10 and you absolutely only buy $70 games on the day they come out, which sounds like the most miserable thing I've ever heard. But if you are that person, skip another month, there's another game's price back. And it's just a financial literacy thing that, like, don't buy shit you don't need. If you're still playing through other games, finish them and then buy new games. They will be in a better state and the price will be reduced. And on top of that, not to defend $1 billion corporation here or anything, but video games do have a bit more of a stable price than a lot of other hobbies. Video games have been $60 for me for what, 10 years? Before that they were $50. If we see a $10 price increase to the standard pricing of games every 5 to 10 years, that's not the worst price hiking I've ever seen in my life. There are a lot of hobbies where the prices go up every year and it's by a lot more than $10 or the percentage equivalent of $10. Look at fucking Lego or associated collectors, toys and shit like that, or various kinds of tabletop games where you have to paint your minis and stuff like Warhammer. Prices on those are way more unstable than video games. I think specifically with Lego Star Wars, the prices from 2020 to 2025 have gone up about 50% on most of the things they put out now. So I don't feel too bad that video games go up $10 every 5 to 10 years. It's stable compared to a lot of other ways you could spend your time. Indeed, compare it to the price increases of fast food or the price increases of places you can go, like cinema tickets and stuff like that. You'll probably find that video games are one of the more favorable ones when it comes to price increases, because it's always like a big deal when the price goes up $10. Everybody's always screaming about it for a year, and it happens fairly infrequently. I'm pretty sure that in 2011, Halo Reach was going for $60. So if the most recent industry-changing price increase, if we pin that to around about 2010, 2011 for Call of Duty Black Ops, Halo Reach, that sort of era of games, if that's when games became $60, if it then took 14 years for games to become $70, I forgive that. Inflation has increased way more than that in those years. And honestly, with the state of video games now where they're pumped with microtransactions and they come out half finished and under budget and underbaked and the workers are overworked and underpaid, maybe we need price increases for video games. We want the video games to be good. That's not what's going to happen for this $70 price increase, by the way. Don't get any delusions. Just saying maybe it would be a direction we would want to take instead of continuously straining the quality of the games. Maybe we do increase the price, because ultimately Steam's going to sell you it for $1 in 5 years anyway if you really want to play it. But at the same time, eat the rich, fuck them. Give me games for free, and obviously piracy exists and it's really easy to do. So nobody's really going to be affected by it. Only like the people who buy 12 games a year at full price on day one of them coming out are going to be affected by this, and even then it's going to be like an extra $100 a year. Let me know your thoughts on those questions and the answers in the comments below, and be sure to leave your own one if you're interested. If you like this video, why not check out last week's AskP video, or if it's been a week, check out next week's. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.